welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Olusayo-Prada, and I know it's been a while that I've been here. I know that in most of my videos, I always start by saying this because I've not been very consistent with making YouTube videos. It does take a lot of effort, and that's not an excuse. But anyways, I'm glad to be back making this video. The reason I'm even back making this video is because you guys have not stopped requesting that I continue my last video. My last video about Sault Ste. Marie actually got 1K plus views, which I'm very surprised about. I started that video and I did not continue the video, and I'm gonna be sharing why I have not continued the video until now. I finally decided to complete that video. And thank you guys for watching my videos, for watching that particular video, and for asking questions, for leaving your comments. I've been getting comments. I think I made this video like since last year, and since then I've been getting comments from you guys asking me to do a follow-up video, and each time I see those comments I just get guilt tripped, like I really need to go back to complete this video about my experience in Sault Ste. Marie. So I'm finally back here to share the rest of the video about my experience in Sault Ste. Marie. To start with, the reason that I paused on making that video, the reason that I haven't completed that video up till now is because I realized that I wanted to be honest about my experience in Sault Ste. Marie. And at the point where I started making that video, I realized that I could not be honest about my experience at Sault Ste. Marie because my experience in Sault Ste. Marie it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best experience. My time in Sault Ste. Marie was such a hard time for me. It was one of, it was a dark time for me. And at the point where I started making that video, I was not ready to um share that experience. I had not gotten over it. I was still, recovering from the experience that I had in Sault Ste. Marie. So now I'm at a point where I can talk about Sault Ste. Marie, talk about my experience in Sault Ste. Marie, and also advise you about Sault Ste. Marie. Yeah, so guys, welcome to this video. Grab your popcorn and let's enjoy this video together. I hope you learn a thing or two. If you're planning to move to Canada, if you're planning to move to Sault Ste. Marie, I hope this video is able to provide you some useful information. And I'm just gonna put this disclaimer that because I had the experience that I'm about to describe in Sault Ste. Marie does not mean that that would be your experience. Everyone has different path. Sault Ste. Marie is a great city. I enjoyed the city. The city helped me. The city itself gave me sanity. It helped me to stay afloat amidst the experiences that I had. So this is not a video that is meant to discourage you from going to Sault Ste. Marie or from living in Sault Ste. Marie. But I'm gonna share my experience honestly, and I hope you're able to learn a thing or two from this video. So guys, to ensure that you gain something from this video, and to ensure that this video is not just me sharing my experiences in Sault Ste. Marie, because what is most important to me is that you get all the information that you need about living in Sault Ste. Marie from this video. So I'm going to start by addressing all the comments and questions that I got on my previous video on Sault Ste. Marie before I proceed to share my experience living in Sault Ste. Marie for 10 months. The first comment that I got on my first Sault Ste. Marie video is, finally a Nigerian video about Sault Ste. Marie. I don't search tire. This was quite informative. Thank you. Looking forward to more of this. So this is one of the comments that I got on my previous video, and I responded to this comment saying thank you. Thank you for leaving this comment. The second comment that I have here is, yes, that was a pretty good glimpse of the city. Well done. I in that first video I didn't even feel like I provided enough information, but I'm very glad that the little that I could share in that video was useful to a lot of people. Thank you for commenting. Next comment, I found your video because YouTube recommended me your channel. Hello. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you, YouTube. Yeah, I'm actually motivated to do more YouTube videos because I didn't expect this particular video to perform this much. Next comment, we need more video of Sus and Marie, please. Your video is very informative. Next comment is thanks a bunch. Why did you leave? So this is the first question that I'm coming across under the previous video, and I'm gonna answer this question. Thanks a bunch. Why did you leave? I left Sault Ste. Marie because I got a better job. So I got a better job in Toronto, so I moved out of Sault Ste. Marie. As a backstory, I had been praying to God to give me a job that would move me out of the city. Like I mentioned, my time in Sault Ste. Marie was so hard. I experienced hostility from the community of people of my Nigerian community in Sault Ste. Marie. I experienced hostility there, even though there were also people that were very good to me. The pastor of my church, I met amazing people from church that made living in Sault Ste. Marie so bearable for me. But I also had some hostile experiences with the Nigerians that I lived with, and I just needed to get out of Sault Ste. Marie and had been praying. So I was in Sault Ste. Marie for 10 months, and in the 10th month, in July 2024, I got a job that helped me to relocate out of Sault Ste. Marie. I left Sault Ste. Marie at a point where I really, really needed to leave. So I thank God for answering my prayer, and I left Sault Ste. Marie. So that's why I left. I left Sault Ste. Marie because I wanted to leave, and I needed a job, a better job to help me leave Sault Ste. Marie, because the reason I moved to Sault Ste. Marie in the first place was for work. So that answers that question. The next comment is your video is very informative. Thank you, Olusayo. I wanted to ask about job availabilities, especially in the educational sector. Do people easily find jobs? I the first thing I'm gonna say is with respect to job availability, from what I observed while I was in Sault Ste. Marie. Sault Ste. Marie is a growing city. It's a developing city. It's one of the cities that are trying to get more people to come live. The government of the city is trying to get more people to come live there. And the more people live there, the more there will be job opportunities. But when I was there, there weren't so many job opportunities as far as I knew. Um I know that one of the industries that that has a lot of jobs in Sault Ste. Marie is the mining industry. I also think the steel industry. There was a steel factory in Sault Ste. Marie. In the educational sector, there are two popular higher institutions in Sault Ste. Marie. There's Sioux College, and also there's Algoma University. So I don't know about the availability of jobs in those schools, but those are the major tertiary educational institutions. You may want to check those out. But with respect to like availability of job opportunities generally, compared to a city like Toronto, Sault Ste. Marie does not have so many job opportunities. Yeah, I hope that answers it, but you can do more research on your own. The next comment is, hey, I enjoyed your video. Can you tell me where and how I can connect with the Black community? Please and thanks. Um, so I am Nigerian, if you didn't already know this. And one of the ways that I connected with the Nigerian community in Sault Ste. Marie was via a WhatsApp group. So when I was moving to Sault Ste. Marie, things worked together, and one of my friends happened to know someone that was living in Sault Ste. Marie, and this person added me to a Nigerian WhatsApp group that I joined when I was in Sault Ste. Marie. But more importantly, the way that I would advise for you to connect with the Black community in Sault Ste. Marie, where you would feel safe, is the church that I attended, United Baptist Church. That church, chef's kiss. I'm glad that I was a member of United Baptist Church. I'm still friends with the pastor of the church. I'm still friends with lots of people from that church. That church was a huge, huge, huge support system for me when I was in Sault Ste. Marie. United Baptist Church is a mixed church. It's not just Black people. It's not just Nigerians. There were Jamaicans. There were Canadians. There were Brazilians. I think almost every country was represented or is represented in United Baptist Church, and I would say that that is a good place to start if you're trying to connect with a Black community in Sault Ste. Marie. The next comment is, please can you give a heads up about the route, how to move and live permanently in Sault Ste. Marie? I don't know what you mean. If you're referring to like the immigration pathway to move and live permanently in Sault Ste. Marie, I don't know much about that, but I know that there's a rural immigration program that the IRCC runs in Sault Ste. Marie. So if you are living in Sault Ste. Marie, I think you could take advantage of the rural immigration pathway to become a permanent resident of Canada, but that is as little as I know. I don't know much about the pathway, but yeah. Yeah, that's the best answer I can give to that question. Another person asks, why did you leave? Can you tell us about work? Once again, I left Sault Ste. Marie because I was looking to leave the city. So I was looking for a better job um, outside of Sault Ste. Marie. So I got a job in Toronto and I moved out of Sault Ste. Marie. Can you tell us about work? Like I mentioned earlier, compared to a city like Toronto, Sault Ste. Marie does not have a lot of job opportunities, especially professional work opportunities. Yeah. Next comment is, please, Sault Ste. Marie is the northern part of Ontario. Okay, this person is asking if Sault Ste. Marie is in the northern part of Ontario. Yes, Sault Ste. Marie is in the northern part of Ontario. It is by road. It is 8 hours away from Toronto. Compared to Toronto, Sault Ste. Marie is a much colder city. Sault Ste. Marie gets extreme winters, a lot of snow. The winter in Sault Ste. Marie is extreme. You need to be prepared for that. The next comment is, I didn't even know I had this many comments on this post. Oh my gosh. I hope I can finish all of this in this video. The next comment is, hey ma'am, my son is coming from India to Sault College, Ontario, 2025 September intake. Can you help me with accommodations availability? I don't know much about accommodations for students. I don't know much about accommodations in Sault Ste. Marie. When I was living in Sault Ste. Marie, I was living in a shared apartment. So unlike Toronto, where there's like lots of high-rise buildings, and then you can rent a studio. Like there's lots of living options in Toronto compared to Sault Ste. Marie. In Sault Ste. Marie, the kind of living options you would find for most people, students and even professionals, because I was a professional in Sault Ste. Marie, I was working, but I had to live in a shared apartment. So a lot of people that I knew in Sault Ste. Marie, apart from like people that were well established, a lot of students or young professionals in Sault Ste. Marie were living in shared apartments, and I got my apartment via the Nigerian WhatsApp group that I joined. So yeah, I don't know. That's all I can say about accommodation in Sault Ste. Marie. The next question, how is the job situation in Sault Ste. Marie? I think I already addressed that. There isn't a lot of professional job options in Sault Ste. Marie. The steel industry, the mining industry in Sault Ste. Marie has a lot of job opportunities. The last comment is, Olusayo, is it possible for me to connect with you on Facebook? What's your Facebook handle? Please and thanks. My Instagram handle is olusayo.prada. So if you have any questions for me about Sault Ste. Marie or any questions you think that I can help with, you can reach out to me on my Instagram handle, olusayo.prada, and I will try to answer your question to the best of my ability. So that's all the comments that I have under my previous video on Sault Ste. Marie, and I hope that my answers to those questions are able to help you if you're planning to move to Sault Ste. Marie or you currently live in Sault Ste. Marie. So at this point, I'm just going to be sharing a bit of my experience about my experience in Sault Ste. Marie, and I hope that you're able to get some useful information from this part of this video as well. So, story time, guys. I moved to Sault Ste. Marie in October 2023. This was I just completed my master's from the University of Windsor, and the first place that I got a job, I did not want to wait for too long before starting a job, because one thing I've had learned about the Canadian um job or professional employment system is that the sooner you can get into the professional work system, the better opportunities you can access. So I told myself that I was going to grab the first job that I got, even if it wasn't my dream job. I decided to grab the first professional job that I got, and then I knew that from there I could it would then open doors to other job opportunities, which was what I did. I got my first job in Sault Ste. Marie. And even though I realized that the city was far away, was a remote city, I'm a daring person. I don't get scared of um taking daring steps, because I believe that I'm a firm believer um in getting experiences, and experiences make you stronger. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That is one of my guiding philosophies in life. So I was scared to move alone to a remote city that was far away from everywhere. I didn't know anyone in that city. I didn't have any friends in the city, but I still moved there for my job. um so I moved there in October 2023, and getting a house was quite the struggle, but I ended up getting a house via the Nigerian WhatsApp group that I got connected to. And that was where I got the shared apartment that I ended up living in. Before moving to Sault Ste. Marie, I had learned that Sault Ste. Marie has wild animals. So in Sault Ste. Marie, there are bears, there are mooses, um, until I moved to Sault Ste. Marie, I didn't even think that, bears lived amongst people. I didn't even know what a moose was. But moving to Sault Ste. Marie, I realized that wild animals live amongst the people in the cities, and this was one of the things that scared me. So it was very important for me that I got a house in an area that was not surrounded by bushes, because I didn't want to have to run into a bear, talk more of trying to, escape being attacked by a bear. So I got my house in around one of the safest areas and nice areas to live in Sault Ste. Marie is around the Great Northern Road. This is close to the Sioux College, and I lived on a street off the Great Northern Road. It was a really good area that I got the house in, and that's one of the things that made my stay in Sault Ste. Marie quite bearable. Um, so I got the house. It was a shared apartment. I would have preferred to live alone in Sault Ste. Marie, but there weren't a lot of I didn't have the opportunity to live alone. I didn't To even get the house that I lived in was a struggle. So compared to like Toronto, where there's lots, like I said, there's lots of living options in Toronto. You can live alone, you can live in a studio. I'm not sure there was even like a studio kind of apartment in Sault Ste. Marie. At least I didn't find any of those. So I lived in a shared apartment, and most of the people that I knew also lived in shared apartments with other people. Um, my stay in Sault Ste. Marie was a very lonely one. Um, my church was my community, and my church community really supported me. The house that I lived in, I didn't have the best experience with the people that I lived with. These were strangers, and I was minding my business, but for some reason, they were hostile towards me. So this made my stay in Sault Ste. Marie um, more lonely. But I thank God that I had the church to fall back to. When it comes to the social scene in Sault Ste. Marie, there is little to no social life in Sault Ste. Marie. To start with, the malls, there were like two malls. There are like two malls in Sault Ste. Marie, and those malls are nothing compared to what an actual mall in a city like Toronto, or the city that I previously lived in, Windsor. The malls in Sault Ste. Marie were very small compared to the to the malls in like bigger cities. And the biggest mall in Sault Ste. Marie did not have a lot of important stores. Like for me, I couldn't access skincare in Sault Ste. Marie because there was no Sephora as I when I was living in Sault Ste. Marie. But I think there's Sephora in Sault Ste. Marie now because I know they were about to open a store in the mall about the time that I was leaving. I can't remember the name of the mall, but it's close to the riverfront. But yeah, there isn't a lot of access to stores in Sault Ste. Marie. This was one of the things that I struggled with. One of the beautiful things that I enjoyed in Sault Ste. Marie is the riverfront. So there's a riverfront in Sault Ste. Marie. The river is a border. It borders Canada and the United States. I think Detroit or Michigan. Yeah, so there was a riverfront there. I like to go to that riverfront. Take walks, meditate, make videos. That was one of my favorite places in Sault Ste. Marie, as there was not a lot of social activities to engage in that city. So if you are moving to Sault Ste. Marie alone, I would say you should brace up because it doesn't have the most interesting social life. You would need to, consciously keep your mental health afloat. It's a really remote and lonely city. Sault Ste. Marie is better for a couple or a family or a student. But if you are going to Sault Ste. Marie alone to work, it's not the best experience. It's a pretty lonely place. Um, what else? I was in Sault Ste. Marie for 10 months. I didn't have the best of experience and I finally left, honestly. And if you were to ask me what were the things that or what was my best part of Sault Ste. Marie was my job. I enjoyed doing my work. I worked with KPMG in Sault Ste. Marie and I enjoyed working with my colleagues. That was my first professional job experience in Canada and I loved it. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have worked in KPMG in Sault Ste. Marie. I enjoyed going to work. I enjoyed being in the office. They were very warm people and they really helped with my career growth and where I am today. The second thing that helped me in Sault Ste. Marie was the church, like I mentioned earlier. My church helped me. And yeah, I also, I I actively I actively stayed connected with people, I would go for in the Nigerian community, they would organize Christmas parties, house parties, and I always went for this because one thing about me is I would always do anything to stay joyful. I would always do anything to ensure that my mental health is on point. And I know that the moment you begin to isolate yourself, you are not helping your mental health. So one thing that I did in Social Marie that helped me was I was always intentional about staying connected with people, and this helped me until I left the city. So I guess that I have said enough. And if there's any more questions that you guys have, please leave it below this video. I'll be sure to respond to it. If you are moving to Sault Ste. Marie, I wish you all the best. This video is not to discourage you. This video is to provide you with details and information about living in Sault Ste. Marie. And if you have more questions, please leave it below. I hope this video has been helpful and I hope to make more useful, informative videos like this. Thank you for watching my YouTube channel. Once again, my name is Olusayo-Prada and I live in Toronto, Canada. I hope to bring you more videos. Thank you and bye for now.